Okay, welcome back to part 2 of this video. I just got done layering a lot of different colors onto this piece of glossy cardstock. I sprayed it with some water to get a little bit of texture going on there, and then I splatter painted it with the bleed proof white. I'm going to go in here now, and this is another thing that occurred to me when I did the last video, kind of with that splattering technique. After I did that, I went over it and went into some of these splatters again and recolored them with the different, or with another layer of ink. And I think that's what I want to do here. It's not that I'm trying to get rid of those splatters, but, you know, I want to go in there and reintroduce a little bit of color into them. And also, by doing that, it'll kind of be reintroducing kind of a tighter frame around it. Now, maybe I should have done that before the bleed proof white, but it looks like it really doesn't matter to me, or it doesn't matter. Those little splatters are now just becoming colored splatters instead of just all white. And again, I like where a card can take it. I like to frame off my edges, you know, for compositional reasons, just to kind of keep the composition nice and tight and contained by putting this, I don't know, you might call it like a vignette around it. Okay, now, going back to the Versamagic white. I'm still debating on whether or not I want to do that, but I don't know, let's just go for it here. Okay, coloring this up with the Versamagic white. I'm probably just going to use the top portion of it, but what I always say is ink up more than you think you're going to need, because you don't want to take this and stamp it down there and suddenly the bottom part, you know, isn't inked up and, you know, therefore it gets kind of cut off. So ink up more than you think you'll need, and, you know, you'll never have an unexpected surprise in terms of a partial image. Okay. There's white there. Yeah, looks pretty good, I guess. And again, this is the curvy branch. I'm going to have this kind of moving off in the that direction there. Go higher or lower? Let's put it a little bit higher. Something like this. I'm going to keep that motion kind of moving in that direction here in terms of the background and the shapes of these images. Okay. And let's see here. I have this darker image here. This is the Twisting Leaves stamp. It's a stamp that has some bold shapes on it, and I thought maybe that would look good in the foreground. And we shall see. There's so many layers in this scene, and a lot of different potential outcomes you just never really know until you just do it. So, okay. I'm going to just leave that there for a little bit longer and try to let this ink transfer over, you know, because I'm stamping this into other wet inks. And I want this to be nice and dark and black. Okay. And it's not quite as dark and black, but it's not bad. Speaking of that, why not use a little bit of this Versa magic here on the top corners. And that looks like it's even darker than the Marvy black. It's going to dry slower though. Okay. Alright, let's see. Okay. Let's see here. Alright, the fun begins. Not that the rest of it wasn't fun, but I found some other tools in the form of this pink, kind of almost fluorescent gel pen. And since that's the color scheme of this piece, why not use it? And this is a Uniball Signo pen. I haven't used it for probably years, and it draws beautifully. I didn't know that for sure until I tried it out. I honestly didn't think it was going to work, but it did, so I was really happy with that. I don't know if you can even see that. Since this is the color scheme, I'm going with some of these dots here to manually add some stars. Okay. They're going to be much more subtle than a white star, but it'll add to the richness. It's something that it's more apparent when you hold it up to the light and see it. You know, someone has the original, and just with the multiple layers of texture, it really gives this a nice, I always keep saying this, but it's a rich surface, you know, it's a surface with a lot of variation in terms of textures and values, you know, light to dark, a little bit of a contrast in intensity. You know, there's kind of duller colors in here and brighter colors here and there. And I mean, if you looked really close on this page or felt it, there is not only a visual texture, but there's actually a physical texture. You know, that little opaque white, bleed-proof white that was sprayed on there is actually kind of raised. And it's really kind of a pebbly surface that's there. Okay, that was the pink. Let's see if I can kind of give you an idea. Is that kind of pink in there? Alright. Kind of a soft, kind of glowing, whatever that is, splatter back there with that bleached out white. Okay, let's get into this with some of the white paint pen, white gel pen. Okay. Kind of do it random, you know, cluster them a little bit, you know. I've said this before, but quite often the instinct when people are doing this, I don't know what it is. It was the same way with me, but kind of the instinct is to kind of space these completely even, and it's typically like between an eighth and a quarter inch, but everyone spaces these out, you know, perfectly. I don't know, there's this kind of an ingrained habit. But when you look up at the stars, you know, they're a little bit more random in terms of the spacing of them. When you look up at the sky, especially with the, if you happen to live in an area that you can actually see the Milky Way, you know. With the city lights, where I typically have lived, you can't really see them, or the Milky Way, too good. But anyway, kind of working in that same S-curve pattern, doing a larger star every now and then. Kind of in the lighter areas, I'm going to, you know, give a little bit of a brighter star in there. Just because in that light area, you know, in here you really can't see, just a tiny dot is good, because there's not enough contrast against the background with it. Okay, now, again, you see this little branch right here? Let's give it a little bit of a variation with a few little dots, kind of giving it a slight dimension, and the little areas up here, you know, in here where it's kind of like represents a little bit of a flower. Why not brighten those areas up a little bit more? Some additional value in terms of whiteness. The impression was stamped out in white, yes, but it's a little bit more translucent because the colors from underneath are showing through. So if it's stamped on something dark, you know, it's a little bit less than white. Another thing you can do, you know, what might be really nice on a surface like that that's so crazy in the background of texture is, why not take some detailed embossing powder and emboss those images on the top, you know, instead. And that would be really dimensional and opaque. Okay. That's kind of a fun little surface that's going on here. Let's bring out this little branch from the background slightly. Why not punch it out with a little bit of highlights? So, and the leaves, these black leaves, like I said, they didn't stamp out quite as dark as I would have liked, so I'm just compensating right here a little bit. Having it really dark would have had it stand out even more, but you know, I can kind of pull them out from the background with a little bit of highlighting on them, like so. Okay. Okay. Big crazy textures in this scene. Let's go for some larger stars here and there. And I think I'm about done. Okay, a lot of texture in there. Kind of a whimsical sky, for sure. And there you have it. title of this would be. But again, a lot of great textures and fun way to use some imagery in a slightly different way. Again, bleed-proof white in the background, dye-based inks, water bleaching technique, and gel pens. It's just kind of a layer upon layer of texture. Okay, so anyways, thank you so much for watching, and hope you enjoyed the scene as much as I enjoyed stamping it. Okay, thanks.